Hello, George, Fat Ninja Food Forest. If you're not familiar, just give me a video on how we use these castings. Start out here just because it's much nicer. We'll go in the basement and talk about the two other ways I use. We can just top dress, open these up and sprinkle them. It takes a very little bit. You just try and take that biotic life that's in there and get it started in your soil. So, a soil food web, bacteria, the fungi, the protozoa, the nematodes, and on up through the bottom of the food chain. So by inoculating your soil with that, it doesn't take very much at all. You can just sprinkle this. You don't have to put a thick layer on there, less than an inch or even sprinkling. Another way we use it, the way I use it more often, is I make teas out of it. I make either a compost tea or a compost extract. The tea takes a bubbler and a food source, usually going to be backstrap molasses. The extract is much easier, and there's it's kind of a fail-safe. When you're bubbling the tea and you're making a compost tea, you can go too far. After 24 to 36 hours, the beneficials in there, because of all the food and the oxygen from the bubbler, have multiplied to a point there's too many, and it starts to have a collapse, going anaerobic on you. So I won't talk much about that. I'll just say if you do the teas, you decide to use a tea where you feed it and bubble it, don't go more than 36 hours or so. At that point, start being cautious. Both these teas can be diluted. The extract is very easy. We'll look at the bag. We'll go inside and talk about that. We'll actually walk over and do that now. So that can be the extract. We'll just put it in a bag, and I'll show you that bag. We'll kind of massage that bag as we're holding in the water. It happens very quickly. The last video. And those microorganisms make it through that sieve. I use a 400 micron sieve. It's just something I get from Lowe's. It's for the painters, actually. The painters use them in their 5-gallon bags to when they're spray painting, so the sprayers don't get clogged. They're very inexpensive. So here, we see how simple it can be. Take some non-chlorinated water, or if it's chlorinated, let it set with the bubbler in there for a couple hours, few hours. You take just a handful, depending on how much you're going to do. For 2 gallons like this, just a small fistful would do it, or less. Maybe 2 cups for 5 gallons. Put it in the bag. Twist the top. I'll actually grab some. So like I said, a small fistful would be more than enough for something this size. You could close it up some other way, twist tire on the top. I just do that, dangle it in the water. From there, when it's dangling in the water, I'll reach in and I'll just gently massage it, letting the water go in and out of there, maybe lifting it a couple times. You don't want to agitate it too much. There's actually going to be fungal strands and other things in there you don't want to damage. So you're just giving a gentle massage. And that's a compost extract, a red wiggler compost extract. For the tea, we would hang the bag in there, add a teaspoon or less, losing my voice, add half a teaspoon for something this size. For 5 gallons, maybe a teaspoon. Add your bubbler and air stone of some sort like this. And like I said, let it bubble overnight. 36 hours, somewhere in there is probably going to be where you want it. Anywhere past that, it starts getting to be too close to that turning point where it starts going anaerobic on you. Too many good guys and it collapses. My sprayer's not in here. From there, I use a backpack sprayer. You can use whatever you want to use for a sprayer, any kind of mister sprayer to spray it on the garden beds. Spray it up under the leaves, on the stems of plants, on the stems of trees, the trunks of trees. The underside of the leaves is best, but all over the plant. What you're doing is you're colonizing those plants all over that with the good guys, we'll call it. All those beneficials. Also the soil cover, like we said, getting it started in the soil, so drenching the soil everywhere with it. You can use it to water your soil as well. You don't need to just drench the top. You could put it in little trenches along your trees or anywhere, getting it down in the soil, getting it started. What you're doing is you're inoculating your soil once again. If you do use one of these air stones, every time I'll soak this in a 10-to-1 bleach solution and just let it soak a little bit. You just want to be sure if there's nothing bad sitting around there when you're done with it. As you sit and let it not be used for a while, it will go anaerobic and hold on to those bad guys. It's not from personal experience, but it's from reading on it. So I'd end here looking around, showing how that allows us to have mostly disease-free throughout the forest from just spraying all these Asian pears and these mulberries and these wineberries and these elderberries and these figs and on and on. So there's an abundant amount of life in these teas. Once you get it going and started, just continuing to feed it, putting the organic matter down, top dressing with compost if you care to, but leaving that organic matter, leave it in place. But I always say that because I'm such a fan of it, though. So much that it just becomes this beautiful soil life and feeds what you're using those teas for. If you want to use those teas in your gardens alone, or those worm castings in your gardens alone, you can just add them right to the top of the garden. There will be some cocoons in there, possibly some baby worms, and they'll get started in there. You're just putting that direct. It's just a more efficient way, I believe, is with the teas. But it all works great. I'm George. This is Fat Ninja Food Forest. Hey, why we got to compete here? We offer worms, red wiggler worms by the pound. Red wiggler systems already set up. Our breeder bins, which are full of 500 or more worms, up to 1,000 cocoons, and the bedding to inoculate your bedding with. And we offer the castings as well. The castings are $15 for a half gallon, $20 for a gallon. I'm sorry, $25 for a gallon, and $50 for 5 gallons. We offer classes, tours, and consultations for permaculture. We believe change is better than a holiday and long overdue. Have a great day.